Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Unman Bhattacharya, coming up in the next 30 minutes. Cabinet Committee on Security meets at Prime Minister Narendra Modi's residence. PM Modi also chairs other key cabinet meets. Federal investigators intensify probe in the Pahalgam terror attack. Bangladesh court grants bail to former ISKCON leader Chinmoy Krishnadas in sedition case. Kremlin says Putin open to Ukraine peace deal but warns it cannot be achieved as per America's timeline. Iran, UK, France and Germany to hold discussion on the 2nd of May ahead of the next round of Iran-US nuclear talks. Prime Minister Narendra Modi chaired a key cabinet committee on security meeting today. Earlier, the CCS met last on the 23rd of April to review the overall security situation in the country following the Pahalgam terror attack. The meeting chaired by Prime Minister Modi had condemned the April 22 Pahalgam attack in the strongest terms and expressed deepest condolences to the families of the victims and hoped for early recovery of the injured. It resolved that the perpetrators of the attack will be brought to justice and their sponsors held to account. According to sources, a meeting of the Political Affairs Committee was also held under the chairmanship of PM Modi today. Also, a meeting of the Union Cabinet was held. Wednesday's cabinet panel meetings come a day after a high-level meeting was convened by Prime Minister Narendra Modi at his residence in New Delhi on Tuesday. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, National Security Advisor Ajit Doval, CDS Anil Chauhan and the chiefs of the three services also attended the meeting. The high-level meeting was held to review security and preparedness of the defence forces following the Pahalgam terror attack. Meanwhile, Delhi has intensified the probe in Pahalgam terror attack in which 26 people, mainly tourists, were killed on the 22nd of April. The National Investigation Agency team has recreated the crime scene and is meticulously gathering evidence from every corner. They are also examining the past contacts of mule operators to determine any involvement in previous criminal activities. Security has been tightened in the Kashmir Valley as a precautionary measure. Checkposts have been raised at important tourist locations in Srinagar. Vehicles are being checked thoroughly and details of the vehicle owners are being registered by the CRPF and the J&K police. DD India correspondent Vishal Baristo brings us this ground report from the Dal Gate.
I am here at the Dal Lake in Srinagar and there you can see security has been beefed. People are being questioned. All vehicles are being checked properly. Their verification is being done here. There you see the details are being registered on the register. This is the increased security in Srinagar. They are taking all care. It is the CRPF and the Jammu and Kashmir police. The armed police from the CRPF, they are manning the different locations here in Srinagar because the safety and security of the tourists and the place is the utmost requirement of the time. With cameraman Mohit Uike in Srinagar, this is Vishal Baristo for DD India.
In Bangladesh, the High Court has granted bail to Chinmoy Krishnadas Brahmachari, former ISKCON leader, in a high-profile sedition case. The ruling came from a bench led by Justice Muhammad Atwar Rehman and Justice Muhammad Ali Reza. Chinmoy was arrested on the 25th of November last year, accused of hoisting a saffron flag above the national flag during a Hindu rally in Chattogram. His arrest triggered widespread protests from the Hindu community demanding his release. Violence followed, including deadly clashes outside the Chattogram court, where a lawyer, Saiful Islam Alif, was allegedly killed. Several cases were filed in the aftermath. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi announced that Iran will hold nuclear talks with Britain, France and Germany in Rome on Friday. The talks aim to ease tensions and improve strained relations ahead of a fourth round of nuclear discussions with the US this weekend. Araghchi criticized Europe's diminished role due to past policies but confirmed the meeting with the E3. Tehran proposed the meeting and European officials confirmed their attendance.
Diminished due to their wrong policies in the past. Of course, we are not in favor of this situation, and for this reason we prepared to meet with the 3 European countries and hold it in Rome. 4 rounds have been held so far. We are interested in this issue being resolved and concluded within an international understanding with a global perspective towards it, and we will continue our own negotiations with the Europeans. But the primary negotiations at present are with the United States.
Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov on Wednesday said that President Vladimir Putin is open to peace in Ukraine and intense work is going on with the United States. Peskov added that Putin had expressed a willingness for direct talks with Ukraine, but that there had been no answer yet from Kyiv.
Президент Путин, я напомню вам, выступая в Кремле.
Now the president remains open to political and diplomatic methods of resolving the conflict, but the situation is at risk. We heard no reaction from Kyiv. The process continues.
Но перед тем, как на это пойти, нужно ответить на ряд вопросов и урегулировать целый ряд нюансов, которые тоже президент Путин перечислил.
Earlier on Tuesday, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio declared that it was time for Ukraine and Russia to present concrete peace proposals or risk losing U.S. mediation altogether. U.S. State Department warned that continued inaction could force the U.S. to step back from peace efforts. Both Kyiv and Moscow claim to support progress, yet remain locked in mutual blame game.
Something I can tell you that the Secretary said to me, we are now at a time where concrete proposals need to be delivered by the 2 parties on how to end this conflict. How we proceed from here is a decision that belongs now to the President. If there is not progress, we will step back as mediators in this process.
U.S. President Donald Trump marked the completion of his second term's first 100 days in office on Wednesday. He celebrated with a campaign-style rally in Michigan the day before, where he made key announcements and highlighted what he described as major economic victories. Since January 20th, Trump has advanced a sweeping and controversial agenda affecting the economy, immigration and international trade. Diptanshu Kashyap has more on this.
As US President Donald Trump completes the first 100 days of his second term, his administration continues to dominate headlines with both executive decisions and sweeping policy changes. Marking the milestone with a rally in Michigan, Trump announced a major military upgrade for the state: the deployment of new Boeing F-15EX fighter jets to the Selfridge Air National Guard base.
As Commander-in-Chief, I'm proud to announce that very soon we will replace the retiring A-10 Warthogs with 21 brand new F-15EX Eagle II fighter jets, the best in the world, fresh off the line. This will keep Selfridge at the cutting edge of Northern American air power.
Amid chants of support, Trump described his first 100 days as the most successful of any US administration, despite growing unease over economic volatility and political polarization. In a speech that echoed his campaign rhetoric, he took aim at his political rivals, calling President Joe Biden sleepy, denouncing the media as fake, and lashing out at judges, Democrat alike.
We cannot allow a handful of communist radical left judges to obstruct the enforcement of our laws and assume the duties that belong solely to the President of the United States. Judges are trying to take away the power given to the President to keep our country safe.
Beyond the rally, Trump has taken swift action in Washington. In just 100 days, he has signed 142 executive orders, 37 of them in the first week alone. He has also revoked over 100 directives, including 78 from the Biden era. Meanwhile, the creation of the Department of Government Efficiency has triggered mass federal restructuring, affecting tens of thousands of employees in a bid to streamline bureaucracy. On immigration, the administration reported a record low of 7,180 southwest border crossings in March. Trump's high-stakes tariff policy has drawn attention, with rates reaching up to 25%, pushing the average effective tariff to a 100-year high of 28%. Inflation, however, has eased slightly, dipping to a 6-month low of 2.4%. Diptanshu Kashyap's report for DD India.
And Germany is all set for a political shake-up as Conservative leader Friedrich Merz prepares to take the reins as the Chancellor. CDU Conservatives will lead a new coalition government starting next Tuesday after the Social Democrats approved the power-sharing deal with a resounding 84.6% majority in a party vote. SPD co-chair Lars Klingbeil is expected to take on the roles of a finance minister and vice chancellor. This follows Germany's snap general election on the 23rd of February, triggered by the collapse of Chancellor Olaf Scholz's three-way coalition last November. Swedish police said on Wednesday they have apprehended a suspect following a shooting in which 3 people were killed in the city of Uppsala on Tuesday. Meanwhile, police said that the victims are yet to be identified and declined to speculate on the motive for the killings. The incident happened on the eve of the Valpurgis Spring Festival, which brings large crowds onto the streets of Uppsala.
During the search, several people who are interested in the investigation have been taken into the police station in Uppsala. At present, one person has been arrested on probable cause on suspicion of murder. But we continue to follow several reports and expect to bring in additional people, and that the investigation situation will continue to be driven forward by us.
An evacuation of hundreds of Democratic Republic of Congo troops and police trapped for months in UN bases in Goma after the city was taken by M23 rebels began on Wednesday. The International Committee of the Red Cross said it was escorting convoys from Goma to Kinshasa, transporting disarmed personnel and their families from a United Nations base. It added the evacuation operation would take several days and that the parties involved made a commitment to ensure the safety of the people in the convoys. According to DRC security and UN sources, the evacuation followed prolonged negotiations involving the United Nations, the DRC government and the M23 group. According to UN sources, approximately 1,500 DRC soldiers were present at the bases as of early April. Still to come on this edition of DD India Live. India and Norway reaffirmed their commitment to deepening trade engagement under the India-EFTA Pact. Donald Trump says tariff talks with India are going great, expects a US-India trade deal soon.
This week on Defence Dynamics, India and France finalized a rupees 63,000 crore deal for Rafale M fighter jets, boosting naval strength. The DRDL achieves a major breakthrough in hypersonic technology with record scramjet tests. Government issues strict new advisory on defence reporting to safeguard national security. And Indian Navy warships demonstrate precision strike power with successful missile firings. Catch all the actions this Wednesday at 8 PM IST only on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live with me, Munman Bhattacharya. In a significant step towards enhancing economic cooperation, India and Norway have reaffirmed their commitment to deepening trade engagement under the India-EFTA Trade and Economic Partnership Agreement. India's Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal held a bilateral meeting with Norway's Minister of Trade and Industry, Cecilie Myrseth. The discussion focused on exploring new opportunities to strengthen bilateral ties. Earlier, Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal also met with Norway's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Espen Barth Eide, to discuss the implementation of the India-EFTA Trade and Economic Partnership Agreement. The talks centered on strengthening bilateral relations and boosting trade and investment between the two nations. Spain is investigating the causes behind a massive blackout that plunged much of the Iberian Peninsula into darkness, with millions left without power internet or phone service. As the country gradually returns to normal, authorities are now exploring the possibility of sabotage. The massive blackout on Monday disrupted Spain, Portugal and parts of France. Metro services were halted, traffic lights failed and businesses closed. Many passengers waited at the central station. Power was mostly restored by Tuesday, but the cause remains unclear. Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez has ordered a full investigation, while the country's top criminal court is probing potential sabotage of critical infrastructure. Grid operators in Spain and Portugal have ruled out a cyber attack, stating there were no breaches in control systems. And to shed light on the cause and impact of the blackout is Deutsche Welle correspondent Emily Leshner joining us from Berlin. Emily, what do we know so far?
Well, we know that millions of people were left without power because 15 gigawatts of electricity disappeared from Spain's energy grid. That's about the equivalent of the electricity that's generated from 7 to 8 nuclear power plants, or around 60% of the country's energy supply. And so what that meant was that hospitals had to use generators to allow life-saving equipment to continue operating. It also meant that credit card transactions didn't work, leaving summer travelers stranded because they didn't have the ability to pay or check into their hotels. Transportation also came to a screeching halt because traffic lights were down, trains had stopped, many commuters were stuck. Mobile networks were also down, so people couldn't check in on friends and family. It impacted just about every aspect of daily life, causing a bit of fear and chaos. And as you mentioned, the event spurred lots of rumors of a possible cyber attack, which at this point Spanish authorities and representative of Spain's national energy grid say they have ruled out. But they're still trying to figure out why the sudden loss of power as the rest of the country tries to bounce back from what was a very disruptive event.
Emily, has this happened to other EU countries in the past?
It has, but not on this scale. There was a power outage that affected about 10 million people in northwestern Germany a little over 20 years ago, or less than 20 years ago, sorry. And the cause was an overloaded grid. That was the same reason for a blackout that impacted around 50 million Italians just a few years prior. And it's really the scale of this one, which incapacitated an entire country and parts of 2 others, that highlights how reliant we are on our energy grids and thus how vulnerable we have become because of this reliance. So there have been blackouts in the future on much smaller scales, but never one like the one we saw in Spain and then parts of Portugal and France.
Emily Leshner reporting from Berlin. US President Donald Trump has said that tariff negotiations with India were coming along great, and he thinks the 2 countries will strike a trade deal soon. Trump made these remarks while speaking to reporters outside the White House on Tuesday.
India is coming along great. I think we'll have a deal with India. The Prime Minister, as you know, was here 3 weeks ago, and they want to make a deal. We'll see what happens.
Donald Trump had levied a 26% reciprocal tariff on India, but later announced a 90-day pause on the duties to discuss trade agreements with several countries. US President Donald Trump signed an executive order intended to reduce the economic hit from multiple overlapping tariffs on automakers. The move means that an automaker would not face both a 25% levy for an imported vehicle and 25% on steel or aluminium, easing the impact of his tariffs on the automotive industry, yielding 2 weeks of intense lobbying from automakers, parts suppliers and dealers who wanted excessive levies, who warned, in fact, that these excessive levies could push up car prices, triggering plant shutdowns as well as job losses. It will allow them to offset tariffs for imported auto parts used in US assembled vehicles equal to 3.75% of the total value of the manufacturer's suggested retail price of vehicles they built in the US through April 2026 and 2.5% of US production through April 30, 2027. Let's now take a look at other stories making news around the world. Police scaled up security around former South Korean President Yoon Suk Yeol's private residence in Seoul on Wednesday. This comes after prosecutors started conducting search operation. Yoon was ousted from office on the 4th of April over his attempt to declare martial law late last year. At least 17 people were injured after an explosion rocked a residential area in northern China's Shaanxi province on Wednesday. A total of 210 firefighters and 43 fire trucks were deployed to the scene to contain the aftermath. Local officials have yet to determine the cause of the blast. A man drove his jeep off a jetty, narrowly missing a police boat in Western Australia on Wednesday after a standoff with authorities. After the whole incident, authorities apprehended the driver. A mega run was organized on Wednesday in the North Campus of Delhi University to spread awareness about the benefits of One Nation, One Election. Many dignitaries, including Union Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan and Delhi Chief Minister Rekha Gupta, participated in the event to help spread the word. Here's a report.
One Nation, One Election is not just a public awareness campaign towards the developed India, but a big step towards strengthening democracy. In order to convey this message to the people of the country, a mega run was organized in New Delhi, where students of Delhi University participated enthusiastically. The event was also graced by Delhi Chief Minister Rekha Gupta and Union Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan to encourage the students and highlight how One Nation, One Election can give a new impetus to the country's development.
अगर भारत को विकसित होना है, भारत को दुनिया की आर्थिक महाशक्ति होना है, भारत के नौजवानों को और हिमालय की चोटी तक पहुंचना है, तो देश में और राज्यों में एक राजनीतिक स्थिरता की आवश्यकता है। बार बार चुनाव, उसके लिए समय के अपव्यय, उसके लिए राजस्व की हानि और उसके लिए सारे दांव पेच और देश की चित्त मानस में विचलित होना, ये देश की प्रगति के लिए अच्छा नहीं है।
आपकी ऊर्जा, आपका समय, इतना ढेर सारा हजारों करोड़ रुपए का फंड जो इलेक्शन मैनेजमेंट में खर्च होता है, वो गतिविधियां जो कि राज्य में विकास के लिए होनी चाहिए, वो सब कहीं ना कहीं रुक जाती हैं।
In the eyes of youth participating in the race, the concept of One Nation, One Election will also play an important role in saving the country's resources. Holding simultaneous elections can promote an environment which is conducive to economic growth with greater utilization of resources. Sports Desk, DD India.
As Indians observe Akshaya Tritiya on Wednesday, a festival synonymous with prosperity and auspicious beginnings, the glitter of gold once again takes center stage. DD India's Meghna Dev brings us this report. The Hindu festival of Akshaya Tritiya, guided by celestial alignments, is considered an auspicious time to buy gold, silver or any precious metal. This year also, jeweler showrooms are seeing increased footfall, but with high gold prices, people are conservative about investing too much this festive season.
It's a very firm beliefs of a lot of people where they bring in gold, silver and any sort of metal including gemstones and everything that has to do with the precious metal or a precious stones. And why is that? Because it is said that it will bring long-lasting prosperity. Prices have increased 25 to 30% within last 4 months. But what it has done, it might have slowed down the buying quantity of the people, but people are still buying.
Nowadays, gemstones are more trendy in jewelry also, like people used to wear gemstones as per astrological purpose, but nowadays people also wearing gemstones in 18 karat jewelry, as that is more trendy these days for young generations.
Buying trends this Akshaya Tritiya have also seen people buying more 16 karat and 18 karat gold, as well as investing in precious gemstones. Especially, the youngsters are choosing lightweight jewelry and unique designs. Enthusiasm for the festival is such that despite high prices, customers are buying gold in less quantity and also preferring gold and silver coins.
Today is the auspicious day for all over in India, because today is a very festival day, you can say that. because Goddess Lakshmi is very pleased with the whatever the purchase what we have, like gold, silver, ornaments, and many other things which we can buy on this day.
The word Akshay in Sanskrit signifies eternal. That means boundless fortune and prosperity. That's the reason this day is considered to be an auspicious time to start new ventures. People buy precious metals like gold and silver on the occasion, as it is believed to bring prosperity and good luck to the family. Meghna Dev from Ahmedabad for DD India. That's all in this edition of DD India Live, but do share your thoughts with us on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. This app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. You can scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. This is Munmun Bhattacharya from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live. Namaskar.